Some of the creative forces and the amazing talent behind Avenue Q. Let's start, we might as well start with Mr. Bobby Lopez. Hello! Rick Lyon is here. Yeah, there he is. Huh? Oh, I put an S on it? Oh, my apologies. My apologies to the pride. To the Lion Pride. Carmen Ruby Floyd is here. Erin Quill is with us. You guys can sit wherever you feel happiest. We're very easy breezy. Howie Michael Smith is here with us today. Let's say hello to our good pal, Ann Harada. And you'll note that there's a seat left. I think we should give that to Miss Stephanie DeBrusa. You get to climb. Thank you guys all so much for being here, and congratulations on the legacy of Avenue Q. 15 years is an accomplishment that very few theatrical anythings get to achieve. It's almost a miracle in our business, isn't it? So congratulations on that. And as I mentioned, I saw the show the other night, and it's really in terrific shape. And I was just blown away by how hard I laughed, and that I even, as vulgar as I can be and like to be, gasped and put my hand to my mouth a couple times, which I have to believe is all part of the game.
For those of you who play musical instruments, it's actually, the disciplines are very similar. And it's a very similar sort of process, because what it is you're channeling your performance through an outside vessel. You're channeling your performance in something that's outside of yourself. And that's such a cheap gimmick, you know? All I'm doing is this, okay? Don't do that again.
Timing. It's the timing.
You stripped me.
Yeah.
There is just so much to it, and it just looks so flawlessly executed on stage.
I would be back here, or Jen, or someone would be
Yeah.
back here doing that. That's how Cookie Monster works.
The short answer to that relationship is, it's really like having a dance partner. You know, you have to be that much in tune with each other, and you have to know that well what the other person is going to do. It's actually, one of the interesting things about that relationship is that you just can't screw up your partner. You have to be so consistent every single night. You have to make the same step every night. You have to do the same gesture every night.
Yeah, and I will say, for an understudy, especially if you have different, whoever your partner is, like Rick does this, Christian does that, like, that's
You gotta
hard.
know that.
It's hard, and like, and then when you find a rhythm, because I think I went on for like 2 weeks with Rick at like one time or something like that.
Yeah,
you
sure.
find a rhythm, and it's like, oh, okay, I got it now. And then somebody else comes in, or you're like, oh, we're doing this now. It's like, like I had it. So, but that, I think that was probably the hardest thing personally for me, was to just feel it. But I know what, I kind of know what he kind of likes to do, or he does, or, you know, so I think that was like probably the hardest thing, especially for his understudies with the puppeteering, because yeah, you gotta know those beats. It's, yeah, that rehearsal is,
I can only imagine.
I just want to add real quick, for those of you who might not be familiar with Avenue Q, I think that's one of the reasons that the show...
Then why would you be here?
They're here.
You never know.
I don't know how you found us.
I think that's one of the show's...
I just wandered in.
I think that's one of the show's successes, is that it's not a passive show. As an audience member, you are asked to participate in understanding what the relationship is between the puppet and the puppeteer. It's like watching a foreign movie with subtitles at first. You're like, where do I look? And then after the first, few seconds, your brain totally accepts that and just takes it all in. That's one of the things I like about Avenue Q, is that it challenges the audience to participate in that. It's not just, a show that washes over you and you don't have to think about it. It's not just fluff. And it's a clever show with issues.
Yeah, and let's talk about some of the issues. Hi, Joy. Joy wants to know, is there any sort of exercise regimen for building up strength for handling the puppets? Also, Stephanie, what was it like working with Julie Andrews?
Well, let's first question first. People just think, oh, is your arm tired? Well, it's your hand, so doing grippy exercises like that, because you're doing this constant movement a lot. Lots of stretches. The shoulder is really what gets you too.
And PT, you have to have it a lot.
Yeah, but also it's so weird. Puppetry is the sort of thing that uses muscles that you don't use in anything else.
Right.
So I can't say, oh, if you do curls or you do this. It's just, you kind of have to do it a lot and get it in your bones.
It is one of the, it's just like, you know, what are the exercises you do to be a good basketball player? Well, you do drills, but that's, what a drill is really just doing it, right? So you really just build up the muscles and the stamina that you need from doing it. I've been doing this since like birth. And I actually have trouble buying clothes that look like a normal person because my right side is so much more developed than my left side. I'm sort of lopsided.
And Stephanie, Julie Andrews, lover, hater. I'm just sorry, we're running out of
What do
time.
you think the answer to that nightmare? What do you think the answer to that question is going to be? I was so lucky to get to be in her aura and presence. And what was even more fun about that is her hair and makeup guys who've been with her forever, who worked with her. They're in SOB, that scene where she's on the leading board. And they're primping her. They love telling stories about that movie and just she's just lovely. And her daughter Emma Wilton Hamilton was a producer on the show as well, and just Julie and Emma were wonderful, and was really lucky to get a chance to do something that was that special.
I mean, she's a pretty special lady.
Yeah.
Guess what? You're going to go see Avenue Q as well. 2 tickets to you. Next week, I have an Avenue Q inspired tattoo that I love dearly. What is the craziest thing?
The first couple of rows of the seats, and they built an apron on the stage, so that there was an extension on the front of the stage that ended before the proscenium did. Well, there was escape stairs there, and we were in our early previews, and we weren't quite done with everything, and there was no glow tape on the stage, and I fell off the stage.
And they turned off the conductor monitors too. You used to have some light from that.
So I fell down the stage, and I badly sprained my ankle.
Jeez Louise.
And he could. This was the third preview, and he could not complete the run.
And my
of the
45th
show.
birthday.
Sacrifice for your art. All right, next week, we're down to a minute. This went too fast. Broadway Central, how have the puppets changed from 2003 to 2019?
Oh. They're a lot more beat up now.
You have to understand that all those puppets are built by hand. There's no factory, there's no store to get them. Rick designed them, and every puppet is built by hand. He has patterns, but of course, everything changes, you know?
The biggest changes occurred between off-Broadway and Broadway. The original design concept of Avenue Q's puppets was that it was a sort of dingy version of Sesame Street, and there were subdued colors. And what we discovered is that the subdued colors and the subdued colors of the puppets made it hard to see. So when we moved to a larger house, I had to redesign a bunch of stuff, and we basically brightened up the color palette substantially. And the two characters that went through the most redesign were Lucy and Princeton. We wanted basically both of those puppets to look better. We wanted Lucy to be sexier and to look younger. She looked a little older in the original incarnation of her. And Princeton just went through some refinement to try to make him look a little bit better, a little more handsome.
Abs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
And Trekie's horns got bigger, and those were the main changes. But between Broadway and now, no substantial changes. The designs, that's one of the things I'm most proud of.
It's good, it's
the
good.
designs really hang in there.
You guys, like, can you each in like 10 seconds just tell us how Avenue Q has changed your life? Quickly, Carmen. In the fastest way possible, I guess.
Don't take up all the time.
Go to Ann, I don't know.
The difference between my career before Avenue Q and my career after Avenue Q is that after Avenue Q, everybody knew who I was. I didn't have to explain, tell my resume, or anything. It was just, oh, you're that girl from Avenue Q.
Bobby Lopez.
Yeah, it was my dream coming true. It was nothing. Even though I've had a lot of great successes after it, there was never any experience quite like Avenue Q because my life went from being a nobody to getting the career that I wanted. It would be great.
Erin Quill.
It was my debut, and also it gave me a platform later to write my blog.
Yeah, which you all need to write. There's a fantastic article that Erin has written that involves some whitewashing of casting and
Yeah, people love to whitewash Avenue Q.
And you need to read it, and it's an important read. So look up The Fairy Princess. Howie.
I always wanted to be on Sesame Street, and I always wanted to be on Broadway, and I got to do them both at the same time. So that
Mr. Bruzzo.
I wouldn't be in this room via any other path. There's no way I would have gotten to be part of this community in any other way. This was the only way I could have gotten here. I'm so grateful.
Rick Lyon.
You already heard all my stuff, so.
You guys, thank you so much. Congratulations. You bought
I bought my apartment.
Listen, that's about as high as you get. Thank you guys so much. Congratulations. Look for Avenue Q to open up again on Mars very soon. It's a little show that could and has just been so revolutionary.